morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here. That Journey Chick over on Instagram. Make sure you check out the Instagram and don't forget to hit the like button today. Who, unlike last week when he was supposed to go grocery shopping, or was that this week? It was earlier this week because he didn't go because it rained. So he's going to go today. Yep.
What?
You better go because I want me some spaghetti. I've been craving spaghetti like a pregnant woman. I've been craving spaghetti. I don't think I've had any spaghetti this year. Like, it's March. What's going on? Anyway, hit the like button on your way in or out of the show today. And please consider subscribing if you're enjoying the content of the channel. And if you're not, bye. If you're already a subscriber, please consider becoming a member. Down in the description are the details of how to become a Patreon or a member of the channel. And your monthly donation goes to support the content of the channel. We got a new hashtag BFD. Now, if you want to know what that stands for, watch the episode of the show last night, Craft With Me Wednesday. I will put the link up in the eye so you can hashtag BFD whenever you want. Anyway, it's a joke. It's a joke, but it does have something to do with the new microphone. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. That's my speech for today. Yeah. Some people don't like my speech, but you know what? It's my channel. Anyway, guess what I got in the mail? You are not going to believe it. So for Christmas, I got some DMC floss from my dear friend, Jerry. Oh my God, I love Jerry. Happy birthday and Merry Christmas. Because you guys know my birthday is 4 days after Christmas. So she sent me the floss for this gnome pattern and the fabric as well, which I didn't get out because it's in my fabric box. So I got the floss and I've been waiting since sometime in December for the pattern. Well, guess what came in the mail? The pattern. Here's the pattern. This is the pattern that took 1, 2, 3 stitch, 3 months to send. Can you believe it? But it is super, super cute. Really super cute. I love the ornament that's in the middle. It's blue and gold, but some Christmas gnomes. So something to cross stitch for next year. Now, are you ready for the pattern? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yep, there's the pattern. Super simple. I love it. Yeah. But can you believe there's all this floss? All of this floss for this pattern. Holy moly. Lots of different colors. But I'm loving the gnomes. I love gnomes. Okay, so thank you so much, Jerry. And yes, I will do this before Christmas comes. I promise. But I got, oh, see, there's the blue. The blue is in there. See that blue there? Yep. And then the gold to put around that ornament. And the red for the gnomes. Yeah. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you, Jerry. Anyhow, my boob itches. What the heck does that mean? Anyway, I digress. Oh, my hair is just lovely today. Oh, gosh. Anyway, so last night was Craft With Me Wednesday. I had Shalene's Creativity Room. She was on. She is a colorist. She is a cross stitcher. She could literally sit down and cross stitch this probably in a couple days. If I ask her, she'd say, oh, a couple days, maybe 3. Yeah, she's pretty good at the cross stitch. So, and she does diamond paint. But last night we were coloring in my Alice. We have been coloring this Alice in Wonderland page for, we started it last year. And that's the only time we work on it is when she's on the show with me. And it's 2 pages. It's, goes past the crease. So we're actually starting to work on page 2. But we had such a good time last night. Let's get the planner out. and a pen in case we need to write something. You know what I didn't write in here? I don't remember if I wrote it or not. Cool paperclip, huh? Is I have an appointment next week. Holy moly, the month is almost over. Thursday, physical therapy. Physical therapy eval. It's just an eval. And that's when they, because they do it 3 days after the surgery. So I'm surgery on the Monday, therapy on Thursday. Oh my God, the fun begins. Okay, so today is National Chocolate Covered Raisins Day. Chocolate covered raisins. And in this day in history, we are going to talk about Elizabeth I. She passes away. Yes, Queen Elizabeth, not the current Queen Elizabeth, but the first Queen Elizabeth. Well, I don't know if she was the first. Yeah, maybe she was the first. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth I. Duh. Yeah. So we're going to talk about her. I love talking about like all that King Henry VIII stuff. And yeah, so we'll have a good deal to talk about Queen Elizabeth and what happened to her this day in history, March 24th. And guess what, guys? Let's take a look at the countdown. Oh my word, where is it? Okay, here we go. 15 hours, 58 minutes, and 53 seconds. Looky, there we go. To season 2 of Bridgerton. Oh yeah, Bridgerton. Now, I saw what they're calling the preview, the trailer, and they have made Anthony, the oldest son, who has said he's going to get a wife on season 2. I've read the book, so I know how it turns out, but they've made him look so much handsomer than he did in season 1. They've done something with his hair, and because his hair was just horrible in season 1, and I didn't think he was that good looking, but they've made him I don't know what they did to him, but he's kind of good looking now for season 2, which is a good thing. Or who'd want to watch, right? But I was telling T last night, we better see us some booty, man. We want to see some booty.
What?
Yeah, booty. Naked booty. Yeah, season 1 was full of it. Anyway, 15 hours, 47 minutes, 40 seconds, which means that's tonight at midnight. And I have to work tomorrow, so I'm going to at least watch episode 1. Yes, or else why would I be counting down, right? Which means I'll be up late tonight. Yes, as usual. So let's talk about chocolate-covered raisins, or AKA Raisinets. Yeah. Made by the Nestle Company. Yes. There are other companies that make them. Now, they make regular chocolate covered, milk chocolate covered raisins, but they also make dark chocolate covered raisins. And raisins are really good for you, very good sources of vitamins. And when you combine them with dark chocolate, which is also really good for you, you have got a very healthy snack. Now, if you go to the movie theater and you combine it with a bunch of popcorn, then I don't know how healthy it is. And of course, quantities always matter as well, as we are learning in the William Husel trial. Quantities matter. Yeah. So I learned did I spill it on my sweater? Well, you can't take me anywhere. Oh my God. Now I'm about to go, did I spill it? Maybe not. Okay. I don't want to have to change clothes before work again. Jeez. And yes, I'm wearing a sweater because it's freaking cold outside. What is it? 37 degrees. What? 37 degrees. Will winter ever go away, winter? We've had enough. We're done. All right. While I chit chat, we are going to diamond paint. I almost finished this section here before I had to put everything away for Craft With Me Wednesday and get the coloring stuff out. Oh, I forgot to put this back in the planner. All right, I'll put it back tomorrow when I get it out. Let's talk about crafting and crime. Well, the trial of Dr. William Husel continues. Yes. So yesterday was the cross-examination of the prosecution witness, their prosecution's expert witness. And I will say that despite some rigorous cross-examination questions, he held up pretty well. Now, he had to give her some points on some stuff. You know, she went through each and every patient, and she pointed out where he was just wrong, frankly. You know, he said, like, one of his criticisms that there wasn't a multidisciplinary approach to deciding whether to initiate palliative care. And in some of the patients, there actually was. She pointed out that there were notes, documentation from other physicians of other specialties that talked about initiating palliative care, or talked about the futility of further treatment. And, you know, he had to give her all that. But, and I will say, this took the entire day. Yes, the entire day of questioning this man. Yeah. And I listened to a lot of it. Then on rebuttal, where the prosecution has one more chance to talk to, or, you know, to ask questions of the prosecution expert witness, she said, you know, doctor, did any of the questions that you were asked by the prosecution change your opinion? And he's like, no, my opinion is still the same, that the dosages and the medication, first of all, that the medication was not medically indicated. There was no medical reason to give that medication. And secondly, it's certainly not to give it in that quantity, and that he hastened their death. Were they going to die? Yes, some of them probably were going to die. They hadn't declared themselves, like he said. You know, some of them needed more time, as the defense attorney pointed out, that some of them were given time and weren't improving. And he had to admit that, yes, they were given time and they weren't improving. But it doesn't change the fact that when the palliative care was initiated, Dr. Husel ordered these ridiculous amounts of drugs. And, he, you know, whether they had 30 minutes or 2 days or a week to live, it wasn't going to happen with that amount of drugs. Like, they were not going to live past 5-10 minutes with that amount of drugs. So, you know, whatever little bit of life they had in their body, he denied them that little bit. So that is it. So so after the judge excuses, well, first he tells the jury, you know, they don't do trial on Fridays. So today they are going to do trial half a day. Now, so I suspect the defense does not have much of a case, or maybe they do. You know, I don't know. I honestly don't have a read on the defense about who, you know, are they calling witnesses? Are they not calling witnesses? I will find out this morning, if they're going to call witnesses. But in any case, one of the jurors, they never have trial on Fridays, and one of the jurors had said they have a flight to catch in the early afternoon. So he said, okay, we're going to do half a day tomorrow. I think they're going to make an early lunch, come back and do a little bit more, and then he's going to excuse them for the day. And then they'll be back on Monday. And we have listened to 43 witnesses in this case. 43. And I say I have listened to 43 witnesses. Doctors, nurses, family members, experts. Wow. Yeah. So, and I swear I do not have a read on which way this is going. This may be a case where this guy does not get convicted. Maybe not. Whatever the outcome, it will have affected his life in a very negative way. I doubt he'll be able to practice medicine in the future. He's got a young family. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got, beautiful child, and lots and lots of lawsuits. Now, I'm sure he's insured, but here's what happens with doctors. Now, with him, most doctors, hospitalists, internal med, they'll carry the minimum amount of insurance, which would be a $250,000 policy. Depending on the legislature in that state, sometimes they enact laws about how much you have to carry. Now, when I practiced in Florida, most doctors in Florida carried a $250,000 policy. And then the aggregate would be $500,000. So the most that insurance company was going to pay out would be $500,000. So as you get up in your specialties like OBGYNs, now they have to carry a much higher policy, a 1-5 policy, maybe $1 million per event, and and $5 million in the aggregate. And aggregate means once all of the lawsuits happen within that policy year, and the money's gone, there's no more money. So then what happens? So you've got all of these families from 2017, 18, that are suing the doctor. Once his policy that aggregate is exhausted, there's no more money to be had, except if they go after him personally. So if he still owns, now a lot of doctors, what they will do is they will put everything into their wife's name, their spouse's name, so that they don't actually own anything. And this is the reason, because whatever he owns is subject to this lawsuit. If he has stocks, if he has savings, they can't go after his primary residence. Can't do that. But if he has a second home somewhere, whatever it may be, they can go after him personally for any of that. But a lot of these cases, my understanding, the average case has been settling for about $250,000. So, that's going to eat up his aggregate pretty quickly if it hasn't already, because some of the cases have already settled, some have not. When you first, this is totally off the subject, but when you first put the glue dots in these pens, when it's like a fresh glue dot, you got to get it dirty because it just doesn't stick well until it kind of wears off. You get some dirt on it, some oil on your, I don't know. Otherwise, it just wants to stay on the canvas. There we go. That worked. We gave it a little body oil. All right, let's talk about this day in history. What I plan to do tomorrow is bring you a true crime story. I do have to go to work today, so I'm going to listen to a true crime story and bring you a fresh true crime story. Well, it might not be fresh. They've already happened, but I'm going to bring you a true crime story tomorrow. It'll be a little different, yeah. Kind of like the Gant one it won't be Munchausen's by proxy, but it'll be another true story. Yeah. Oh, 35 degrees. It went up. The high today is supposed to be 74, which will make my sweater moot. Yeah. Crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this day in history, Queen Elizabeth dies. She served Queen Elizabeth the First. I want to make this clear because there's some conjecture out there that Queen Elizabeth, the current Queen Elizabeth, is dead. Nobody has seen her since she went, to her bed with COVID. No one has seen this woman. And she's coming up on her 70th anniversary of being the queen, which is the longest any monarchy has served as king or queen. But Elizabeth I served 44 years and died this day in history, 1603. 19. No. Okay, it was in 1603, March 24th, 1603. Queen Elizabeth dies. Now, I don't know how she died, but we're going to talk about that. So she ruled for 44 years. She was the daughter of Anne Boleyn and King Henry VIII. Now, as we all know, Anne Boleyn lost her head through this really scandalous, adulterous accusations that she had incest with her brother and other men, and her husband threw her in the Tower of London and then beheaded her. But I think he was just pissed off because she had a girl and not a boy. He wanted a male heir, but he got a female heir. He already had Mary from his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. So Mary served for a handful of years, 5 years or so. Mary served, and she and Elizabeth kind of got along, but in the end she threw Elizabeth in the Tower of London. And here's why: because Mary was very Catholic. She wanted to reinstate the Pope and make everything Catholic. Well, that didn't go over real well. So when she passes away, they release Elizabeth from the Tower of London. She becomes the queen. It was challenged by a lot of Catholics, but she brings back the Protestant reigns and establishes once again the Church of England as the Protestant church of the monarchy. And it kind of stayed that way after that, because nobody would challenge this woman. Now, I read this really interesting thing. There's like all this conjecture about Elizabeth out there. They called her the Virgin Queen because she would never take a husband, and nobody knows why she would not take a husband, except that she did not want to dilute her crown. She wanted to be the decision maker. She didn't want a king to rule her. She wanted to be the queen. So she didn't want any dilution of that. Now, did she have affairs? I don't know. But here's one of the rumors, that she was really a guy, that she was a man in disguise. So there's this small town in England that claims that that King Henry VIII used to come there and he would go hunting. And when Elizabeth was very young, he sent her away to live in this small town. And she had this little boy that she played with all the time, same age. He was very much related to the king as well. And so he had a lot of the king's features. So she's playing one day, she goes ill, she passes away. And meanwhile, the king is on his way there to visit Elizabeth. And they're like, oh my God, she's on her way. He's on his way to visit her and she's dead. What are we? He's going to kill us. He's going to take our heads off for this. So they get the little boy and they put him in a dress and they make him look like Elizabeth. They had the same hair coloring, same features, except Elizabeth was kind of gaunt, and her teeth were messed up. This little boy had a nice plump little face and perfect teeth. But they thought, well, we won't really notice because he didn't really pay much attention to Elizabeth anyway. So that's this rumor that has persisted for the years. If you look at portraits of Queen Elizabeth, there's some portraits where she looks very feminine, and then there's some portraits where she looks like a guy. So, and they say, that's why she wore these high collars to disguise her Adam's apple. His Adam's apple? I don't know. And that's why he wouldn't take a wife or a husband, because he was a guy. And Queen Elizabeth liked to wear this really heavy white pancake makeup. They said because it was to cover up smallpox scars, but the other rumor is that it was to hide the 5 o'clock shadow that the guy would get. I think it's all laughable, but in this small town, they really believe it. And every year they have this little celebration where they'll find a little boy and they'll dress up this little boy as a girl, and they have a little celebration around it. I just think it's hilarious. Now, you guys in the UK, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, nobody knows if this is actually true, but they do know that, like, Queen Elizabeth, when she passed away, refused to have her. She said, "I do not want my body autopsied. Do not touch my body. Just bury me. No autopsy." Which is another thing that fuels this rumor that she was a guy and she was hiding something very precious that she didn't want anybody to find out about. I don't know. Wouldn't that be weird if that were true? Oh my gosh. And they actually sent in an archaeologist because they found a coffin on the property of where Elizabeth stayed when she was a young child. And they said that this groundskeeper found this buried coffin. So they dug up the coffin, and the bones were long gone, disintegrated. But this archaeologist, he dated the coffin back to the 1400s, which would predate Elizabeth's death. But he said at the time that she allegedly died as a child, they would have had, it was a period in time where there were churches being destroyed that had all these old coffins. They would put the coffins and bury them on the church grounds or even in the buildings. So they had all these coffins laying around. So they would have just reused one of these coffins. So it's very likely that this could have been the young child of Elizabeth. It was a small coffin. Who knows? We'll never know if this is true or not. So just a little tidbit to throw out there about the monarchy. Meanwhile, is Queen Elizabeth the current Queen Elizabeth? Is she alive? Is she not alive? I don't know. Let's ask Google. Let's find out from Google. Let's go to Google. Of course, I can't go to Google here. There we go. When was the last time Queen Elizabeth was seen in public?
According to ABC News, Queen Elizabeth, Britain's longest reigning monarch, was last seen publicly on Saturday at an event in Sandringham to mark her 70 years on the throne.
Saturday. Okay. Well, no, this is an old thing. Yeah. That's a February article, so yeah, so she hasn't been seen since back in February. Okay. Okay. That's the judge. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. That is the show for today. I did some diamond painting. I put down like at least a dozen drills here. 13. Guys, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. Yeah. Enjoy your Thursday. Love you, everybody.